Savage50 here, back with another video. And this one's going to consist of my new drop leg holster. This drop leg holster is from Code for Defense. It is right here. Beautiful holster that they make. Strong plastic, Kydex. It's tailored to whatever gun you please, unless it's not on the list. But this one's made for my Glock 19 with my TLR1 flashlight. It's left-handed because obviously I'm left-handed, so luckily they're a company that can do that for you. It has one strap for your leg, one strap for your belt line, and it fares pretty well so far that I see. This video will encompass me doing a quick review on the holster, pros and cons that I found so far with the holster or drop leg holsters in general, how they'll fare jumping in and out of a car or sitting in a car situation. If you were one to open carry your weapon in a holster like this, are you able to get it from your leg in a efficient manner? I'll also go outside and do some kind of practical type of running and up downs to simulate, you know, you're running courses with these holsters and trying to see if the weapon will flop or not flop around your leg. We'll talk about all of those good things. So let me first give you a quick overview of the holster itself. I'll do a quick little scan of it so you can see it. Again, it's from Code for Defense. That's their website, Code, the number 4, Defense. Or you can find their eBay page, Code, the number 4, Concealment, Code for Concealment. So they have these items on there. I thought this one was fantastic. It looked really good to me, and I said I wanted to try it out. So I purchased it. I've been walking around the house with it, drawing my weapon with it, and I love it. There are pros and cons with the weapon, with the holster, but there are pros and cons also with the actual functionality of drop leg holsters from some people's thought or standpoint. Here's my Glock 19 with my TLR1 light on it. It is unloaded, but I'll put it in my holster so you can see it. You hear that nice click. They have nice passive retention on it. Some holsters don't have a click in it so you know it's in there snug, but this one does, which I really appreciate. You shake it up and down, it's not going anywhere. We'll do some tests later. When we run it, you'll see that it'll stay in place. Well, this will be the first time I'm doing that, so we'll hope that it stays in place. So you'll see it when I see it. Comes out pretty firmly, pretty normally, or pretty normal. Stuck, cool. And I appreciate that part of the holster because I have another holster that's like kind of custom fit. It's a little cheaper than that one, but here it is, and it doesn't have that click, that audible sound that makes you know, okay, it's in there. You know, you just slide it, and that's it. Now, this isn't really going anywhere from this little bit of work, but if I'm jumping fences or doing some type of combat course, I don't know if I trust it as much as that one due to that click. Now, there's no type of active retention on this one or that one in terms of any kind of button or, let me get this holster, any kind of button like this to, you know, retrieve your firearm after you press the button, or an outside button like on this Serpa holster. But it's all in what you like. I'll get to further cons on that part, but here's a normal holster, well, not normal. Here's a holster I have that's similar, and I just don't like that you don't have that click. You only heard that because I'm slamming it in there. It's kind of just the plastic against the metal. Opposed to, I might have flattened myself a little bit, excuse that. Opposed to the actual click right there. There you go. So it's an actual click, and I like how it's held in there. I'm going to specifically use this drop leg holster on my battle belt. I don't have it with me when I run the outside part. You won't see it because it's still kind of under construction. I've been kind of tweaking it a little bit, and I just didn't want to put it on there. But I'm specifically going to run it on my battle belt. Some say, and it's one of those cons, you should never wear a drop leg holster because it's going to be too low from your waist, and it's going to take away from the actual mechanics of you bringing your hand down like this, like if your weapon was on your side. Now, I've been practicing doing it as if it was on my hip. On my leg. So I've been bringing my hand down, drawing my weapon out, and I'll simulate it when I put it on my leg. And I don't see it as that much of an issue. It's just a couple of inches drop down from your hip. So the big deal of you don't want it on your hip because it's going to take you out of your normal rhythm of drawing your weapon, I don't buy that. I think that's just a way to go against these holsters. I was able to take this off, get the weapon out of the holster as simple as I did with it on my hip. So I don't think that's as much of a negative. Some holsters, you'll see that they have 2 straps. Mine only has 1. I don't think that's much of a con, but the con to me is that these straps are not elastic. There are a lot of straps on these droplet holsters that are elastic and have that rubber, those 2 rubber linings in it that will help with keeping it snug to your pants and not moving around. But this one doesn't. This is one of those hard, normal, like I guess a sling type of feel to it where you're not going to be able to stretch it out or anything. So that's a con to me. One other con, I've had an airsoft drop leg holster with these straps or similar straps, and the straps weren't long enough. Those were even elastic, and the straps weren't long enough for my thighs. My thighs are pretty big, and this gives tons of room for it. So if you're one of those larger guys or gals, I'm sure you'll be probably pretty fine for the most part with this. This is how I have it. So if you can just imagine that's how big my thigh is. You can't really tell, no? So you see that there's a few inches of material left to help with that space. So you shouldn't have any problems with it for the most part with this tightening around your thigh. What you want to consider when you have these holsters, the main point that you want to have it as high as you can to your waistline, yes, but you don't want it so far down to your knee, and I'll show that further when I actually demonstrate it. Also, having this belt as tight as you can to your thigh, because you don't want this holster flopping around all day long while you're moving around, because that's just uncomfortable and it doesn't safely secure the weapon to your person. One of the other cons to me is when you have a gun, a firearm in a holster with no actual active retention, such as any type of buttons to get your weapon out or any type of hood, it's always a worry that you may be walking in public to some of these events or to the store if you're an open carry type of guy or gal, and you never know the mindset of other people, and you never know if somebody will try to come up and just take your firearm from you. Now, there are ways to combat that. Maybe I'll talk about that further in another video, but obviously you can grab it, you can kind of tuck, fight away, get to the ground, whatever you want to do to maintain or retain your weapon. But some people will see this as a negative, or this down further down your leg, and a lot of people, they walk like this normally, so if something were to happen, they can just clench it. Or they're this far, they may not pay too much attention to it, or people walk like this, walking on their phone, walk with their arms crossed, so it's sitting right there more open for the taking, so to speak. But I think that's just a awareness type of thing, and with practice and with vigilance, you can kind of combat that. That's not too big of an issue. So now I'm gonna strap it to my leg and show you how it looks on my person. All right, so here is my drop leg holster actually attached to my belt and wrapped around my thigh. So obviously you just snap the buckle around your belt, snap the buckle around your thigh, and you're good. Make sure it's tight. I probably can make it a little bit tighter to make it more snug, but I think I'm pretty good right here, right now. It's not really moving much, so I think I'm good. I actually just measured my thigh, and it's roughly 29 inches around. So I'm 6'2", about 260, 29-inch thigh. That's just telling you that you can probably fit it on your thigh as well, with the way you can make it smaller or larger. So 29-inch thigh, it fits well. I don't have any issues with it. Get a good look at it. Then we taking it out the holster. Moves freely. I don't have any issues with that. Some people will say that it's low on your leg and that's an issue. Now, you will see some clips of people with these droplet holsters and they're a little bit further, probably down here closer to the knee. And that's a no-go, because that is when I'm thinking that you are going out of your way to, lean over to get to that holster, opposed to standing your normal way and just merely reaching down, grabbing your holster, grabbing your weapon out your holster. So I think this is the perfect height. They want you to get it, or they say to have it as close to your belt line as you can. Right now, this is the closest I could get it. I'm gonna keep trying, but I think I'm pleased with how it's located. Here is a normal type of holster that you wear on your belt line. Here is my belt line. So let's say we'll put it right here. If it's on my belt, here's the difference. So this drop leg holster drops about, what, 6 inches down. So you compare that to this. Now, that is a big difference when you have a plate carrier on and you're trying to grab this gun out right on your waistline, and your carrier may be impeding that a bit. So that's one of the pros to a drop leg holster, of having the easier accessibility to your weapon without having it scrape up against your holder, without any kind of negative manipulation in that front. So there it is with my leg. Holds in there snug. I'm not concerned about it flopping around or falling out. Let me show you what my plate carrier on. Oh, one more thing. One more thing. Sorry, I forgot. I was reading that drop leg holster length should be no lower than your hands, and if they're cuff. So hands, cuff. I'm able to put my hands down beside the holster and cuff my fingers around, and that should be a perfect height. No longer than that, and that should be good. So put your hands to your side. If you're able to curl your fingers around the holster, they say you're good to go. So I guess I'm good to go, right? It's a good length. It can go higher, right? If I work a little bit harder at these straps, but I think I'm good at this spot. Let me go ahead now and put on my plate carrier to show you this part. All right, I have one of my plate carriers on now, and you can see how it looks with a normal holster on the belt line. And I don't have any problems drawing my firearm. You see that I don't have any pouches or anything on this portion of it, but I still don't have any kind of issues with maneuverability or anything with drawing the firearm. But I can see how people would if they had a more cumbersome type of carrier. So I'm good like this, but let's see how it looks with the drop leg holster. All right, so here we are with the drop leg holster with my plate carrier, and obviously it dropped a little bit lower. I had no issues with the other holster on the waistline, but you can see that, like we're trying to demonstrate, if there are more stuff here, it's a lot easier if your holster is a little bit lower down your leg. So I'll be good either way. If something really needed to happen bad, if I was going through training or I needed to put my vest on, my battle belt with this holster, I'll be fine both ways. So there it is. Now let's jump to the car. All right, now we're in the vehicle, simulating our normal driving mechanics. You know, you have your seatbelt on, you're being safe, you're driving 10 to 2, and you don't have a weapon on your hip because you are using your drop leg holster. So the drop leg holster is on right here, and let's see how it is to try to get your weapon out when you're driving. So I'm sitting in the car, simulating I'm driving, door closed. I need to deploy my weapon. Now, on the hip, we all know that it takes a lot of extra, all of this if you're right-handed, or all of this if you're left-handed, or, mashing your feet on the pedals and pushing up to do that to get off your hip. And because it's kind of, you're in a tight enclosed location, you got your seatbelt on, but with it down here on your hip, your thigh, try to move a little bit. It may not be as tough to do. So open the doors, put this light back on. So all I'm doing while I'm driving is just reach down to my thigh. I may have to push up a little bit, pull it out, and there I am, deployed my weapon. So I've done both, of where I'm in the vehicle and I'm getting the weapon out from my hip and now from my thigh, and I don't even see much of a benefit to have it on thigh. I mean, the same motion I had to do to grab it, where I was pushing on the floorboard to raise myself up to grab it from the holster, is the same mechanics that I needed to do to get it off of my hip. So if I need to get off my hip, I do the same thing. So I don't see much of a benefit, but in the angle that it is in, pointing this way opposed to this way, it's a little bit rough as well, but it's not that bad. If you're practicing, you really want to do it, you can do it. Like I'm doing this. This is my first time ever doing that, so it's not that much of an issue, but yeah, let's see. I mean, it's not too bad. Let's see, I see a thread, Need to get my weapon out. Take my seatbelt off. Leave the vehicle. Okay, well, not too bad. Now let's go outside and do some running. All right, so I'm outside now. I'm gonna do some jogging back and forth and some up downs to kind of simulate movement. Movement in terms of if you're trying to shoot at the range and do some type of combat courses there, or if you're in a type of self-defense situation where you do need to use your body and move and do different things where your adrenaline's pumping and you're running and you need to see if your gun's still on your hip or your thigh, we can test that out. So let's try this out. Pretty snug so far. All right, so with up downs, it moved a little bit. Strap fell out of my leg some, but generally it's still in the same spot, so. All right, so I've noticed a little bit of sliding, but it's still here, but it's not here, but I feel like that much movement. But I think that's more attributed to me needing to tighten this a little bit more. If I did so, I think I'd be good to go. So I think so far so good. A little out of breath, obviously. I think I'm still gonna use it on my battle belt. I don't have any issues so far, so when I go to the woods again, I'm gonna use it, running some courses, and we'll see how that goes. All right, folks, so I hope you enjoyed this quick review of this drop leg holster. As I was running, I noticed that the weapon never became loose within the holster. Like it was snug the entire time. Yes, there's a little bit of rotation around my thigh, but that's attributed to me not having this as tight as I should. It was tight, but I think I could have made it a little more tighter. So the main worry for me was when I was jumping up and down and running, that this was somehow gonna just flop out the holster, which it did not. So I was really pleased with that. I say this holster is a yes. I will still, like I said, use it on my battle belt. I'll run it through some more tests when I go to the range. But as of right now, I say yes. If anyone's interested in a drop leg holster, hit up Code 4 Defense or Code 4 Concealment, eBay or their website, whichever one you're gonna go to, and check it out. I'll probably buy more items from them. I really enjoyed it. Randy Savs 50, checking out.